Lego. That's life. What's up with that?
Let's go.
Oh, dude, that thing, it's like not my style, but it's so cool.
So, you know, what's funny about that song is, you know, it was months. It was just that little bit. That's all we heard
That's all
for
we had?
months and months and months. And then the song actually dropped, and he got so much hate because, like, everyone was like, you pumped this up for 2 months, and the song is kind of like mid, because that's like the
It's
best
just
part
that.
of the song.
And then it's just like some verses.
It's some
and stuff,
girl.
right?
It's some girl singing. It's like 2008 kind
Yeah,
of R&B.
I totally get that feeling. I'm surprised he got clapback.
Yeah,
I was just telling him,
I like it personally.
I watch a lot of podcasts, and I've also like stay pretty like in tune with some of like the entertainment news going on, and I'm a big YouTube like fan. I watch lots of YouTube, and like being on a podcast is a little scary. It's not like having a song where you play something and it's interpreted by everyone. It's like
It's a little
careful what you say, you know, like like same deal. Like you never know what's gonna happen when you put something out.
Yeah.
It's like super weird. I have friends of mine who have had like really good experiences with songs, and then like 2 years later, like people are like using their song as the background of like some really shitty TikTok thing, and it's like a really negative one, and it's like, okay, this is not the fame I wanted. This is not the way. This is not how I wanted it to be.
Right.
Cool.
I'm ready when you are, man.
Totally, man. I'm totally
Awesome.
ready.
Sweet. What's up, everybody? What's up with that? I got my man Griffin Holtby here. I'm super excited. I've been trying to get this man on the podcast for a minute now. Just a super, super talented musician. He's been quoted as having a powerful voice and energetic guitar playing with crafty modern songwriting sensibility. You got a vintage soul, vintage rock sound, dude. I'm super, super into it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. So just thanks for coming. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm loving this, man. I kind of just get right into this, man. I want to talk to you about your new single, Golden Collar.
Okay, so Golden Collar is an interesting one, and I really enjoyed writing it. So you guys are in the generation that would probably really know who this is, but a lot of people I ask are like, who? Because they fell off the map. But there's this band called not Single by Sunday. That's my buddies in Sweden. Called I can't believe I'm forgetting this. Oh, Forever the Sickest Kids.
Okay,
You
yeah.
know who they are?
I've heard of that, yeah.
Okay. So like they were one of the first Disney bands to do the Disney like
Yeah.
thing and stuff. And they all got older and they got huge for a few years when they were like 17, 18, 19. Went through some real BS in the industry and then popped off in Asia. And they toured Asia for like 6 years.
Yeah.
Right? And they kind of just fell off the map in the United States. Like people just were like, whatever. Like, and the Japan and China, and they all loved them. And then they came back and they all kind of settled down and stuff. And one of the guys owns this studio out in Garland. And he's the lead singer, Caleb Thurman.
Okay.
And he's really, really cool, super sweet guy. Not afraid to tell you how it is, you know, like, because I can be a bit of a wild, like, artistic type, you know?
Yeah.
And he did 2 of my songs. He did Overgrown and Feel My Heart at his studio with one of his engineers and some of my people. And we got to know each other a little bit. And he had, like, this issue, and I won't say too much, but he had an issue at one point with a misunderstood situation when he was, like, 20
Okay.
while he was on tour. And the misunderstanding fell into the hands of a very, very powerful criminal organization. So a lot of the time that
That's
I think
heavy.
that he spent post that tour, he was spending with like looking over his shoulder and stuff. And he's got family now and stuff. So he decided, and I don't think this was the main reason, but I think it definitely contributed because he told me he would like be out and like 2 or 3 years. He had to go to Muay Thai and like get really good at boxing and stuff. A few years after thinking about it, he would be sitting somewhere and some guy with face tattoos would be like across the room. Would be like, you know, like,
Yeah.
and they were always had their eye on him, and he didn't feel safe anymore. And so he moved with his wife, and his wife was like flipping out. Like you could only imagine what would happen if you had a target on your back, right? Like think about what that would be like. So he decided, okay, screw this. I put together the studio. I built it out. I've got this amazing engineer who's 21, mind you. His name's Beckett. Wanamaker. He's got an amazing Spotify. You should get him on this. And I'm gonna leave. And he went and he settled down somewhere. I won't say where, but he's gone. He's in a completely different country.
Man.
And he's with his family, and he's just gonna like be the dude with his kids and like just go live his life in peace.
There's nothing wrong with that, though, right?
Right before he went, Griffin, the best artist I've ever had in the studio. I want you to come back and cut 2. So he went in. I went in with no expectations. I have like 50 songs constantly that are ready to be recorded, right? And I started trying to show him stuff, and he was like, "Shut up! Like, no, we're doing something new.
Yeah.
This is all gonna be new." So him, and the engineer sat in that studio for 5 days and cranked out 2 tunes, and a lot of it was this like really, really new style of like writing from a vocal perspective, like hitting a note, getting the Isra key, and then kind of like that song we talked about with Sam Smith, like the I bet that was like a voice memo. That's why it was probably so like promoted, because that's like the voice can lead it. And so I usually will like pick up my guitar, play a few chords, and be like, that sounds good, and then throw some lyrics on it that I'm feeling at the moment, or something that fits best, or like I'll go for a commercial thing where it's like Friday night, Saturday night, beer popping country song, like hitting all like the checking all the boxes of like the commercialized songwriting stuff. But he was like, screw that. We're going to go in and we're going to come up with melodies, and the only thing on this track is going to be like a click, 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 and a freaking vocals, and then we're going to build out. So I went in there with him, and we just started singing this stuff, and he was like, we did this other song first, and the second song, I come in, and he's like, you're a mess. Like, you're not going to make it, Griffin. If you continue to, like, be out till 5 a.m, if you continue to, like, put your energy into these girls that you're dating.
I gotcha.
If you continue to not, like, think like an adult.
Yeah.
And so he actually came up with, like, a lot of the idea of that was, like, I just want to die here. I won't see the world, and I'll lie here with the girl who knows the way to hold me down with a golden collar. It's like this, almost like this thing that he put in my brain of this decision that you have to make, where it's like there's a moment in every relationship where you go, okay, is this like pictures on the refrigerator level? Like, if I go on this other tangent, is this person going to support me and follow me, or are they holding me back? And that's what the golden collar is.
Yeah.
And it was really like, I wrote like the lyrics and the song and stuff with him and the engineer, but the idea was him predicting. It was almost super weird, because sometimes you can write a song and then not really know what it's about until years later.
Yeah,
which has happened to
definitely.
me a lot.
Yeah.
And I realized later when I finally dropped it, I was listening to it all the time and doing these TikToks and stuff. I was like, dude, okay, he wrote that as a message to me. He gave me that idea of like being stuck because he watched me and I was stuck at the time. And so that's kind of why it means a lot to me. It's a little different from what I usually do with this like rock, country, blues, classic sound.
It's a little out of your wheelhouse, kind of.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I kind of realized, like, if I'm tapping my foot in the studio while I'm singing it, and it's disco or it's reggae, and I'm having a good time, we're putting it out,
Yeah.
Because I used to have this like purist mindset about a lot of the pop stuff and commercializing some of the music, and now I like to round the edges on my music. I like to make it suave, man. I want girls singing my stuff in the crowd. And he was like, cool, let's do it. And we put together this tune, and I mean, every time I hear it now, it's like it just like sinks in more just how realistically like it really fit who I was. And had I been the one to come up with that idea, it wouldn't have been the same. It had to be like a third person. So I'm excited about it. I haven't gotten to play it live
it's a great
yet.
single, man. I dig
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, I mean, it's typically not your the stuff that you're normally doing, but I'm liking the direction you're going with it.
It's weird because
Yeah.
like normally I just get a group of guys like Zeppelin type thing, like a 4-piece, and we just go up there and play.
Sure.
And it's like, oh, this one's in B. We're gonna do some Thrill Is Gone. Just think Thrill Is Gone, and we write some random like lyrics on top of like a blues track.
Okay.
And then with these guys, with this song, I have to go like get like a rack and in-ears and like a keyboard player.
Yeah.
And it's like totally different ball game that I've like dunked my head into.
Dude, I hate playing with in-ears.
I love it.
You prefer it?
I love it. Dude,
Oh,
I
man.
can't hear anything out of this right ear.
Oh, okay.
As of like 3 weeks ago, I had, like 2 months ago, I had 2 different ear infections that I didn't do anything to take care of for a while because I didn't realize. I just thought that I was listening to music too loud. And then this one never healed. And now, like, it's almost like some days I'll wake up and it's like I can hear everything like you would when you just come out of water, and you can like finally hear everything.
Yeah.
And then other days it's like literally, it's like somebody's holding.
Well,
their
I'm
hand
sure
over my
being
ear.
that close to a PA every night,
Oh my gosh.
that doesn't help.
Which is why
know?
I want those in-ears, because like I'm always turning around, turning up my guitar amp,
Yeah.
and then just like hoping that like I don't piss off the sound guy, you know. And then every once in a while I'll have
You're
some
messing
sound
up
guy
his
who's
mix.
Like, you want to use our in-ears, and I'm like, I've got my you know, my headphone, my in-ear headphones with me, like I
Yeah.
can connect to your wireless thing, and then those are the best shows, because I can hear every single thing I'm doing,
Yeah.
and otherwise I can't, man.
No, that's great.
Did
I
you spend a lot of time playing the in-ears? Or?
Man, I only had a couple shows where I was offered it.
Okay.
But anytime I tried it, I just didn't vibe with it because I was so used to hearing the band and just being able to hear everyone next to me.
It's super weird, isn't
And
it?
so when you first put it in and you just hear yourself,
Because it's noise canceling.
yeah, because you try to do it just one, and then you get the weird like vertigo almost sense, like you know what I mean, or in and out
Yeah,
at the same
totally.
time.
Yeah.
So you have to. And finally, I always just found myself just taking them out. And
Yeah,
Then, so
I mean, and like I'd rather have them in and then take them out at the end of the day than
Yeah.
like not have them.
Kick, push, 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 kick, push. Radio, 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 radio.
And stuff. So I'm actually in a place now where every time I hear that song, I think of like, I'm like, okay, like this is the first song I'm gonna walk into a room with a new band with and be like, play this. And if they can't do it, I'll be like, bye bye.
yeah.
I don't have time anymore. I'm 22. I always thought that like my moment would come when I'm 19.
It
but
sounds demanding, but honestly, if you're a recording musician, you need to be able to do that.
it feels dickish.
Yeah, dude, my last show, I had 6 days to prep and learn 3 songs. I did it just fine, you know.
Yeah.
But that's what's asked of you as a
Right?
musician.
You got paid, right?
No, I didn't get paid for that one, but it was just for a friend.
That kind of thing though. Like
Yeah.
most people will get paid, and like there's an expectation behind that, you know. And it's being a young artist. It was weird realizing like, okay, that's right. And then one of the guys that I played with before that we had to fire was amazing, and he's got his own, another band that he's in now. But he's the drummer, and he was like one of the most dedicated musicians I've ever worked with. Just like put so much time and energy into me without me asking him to. He would call me out of the blue on days when I was thinking to myself like, oh, I gotta get the boys together to do some stuff.
Yeah.
And then like 15 minutes later there'd be a phone call from him.
That's
And I'm like,
great.
oh my gosh. But he plays like a freaking like metal guy. And not like double kick or anything, but like just he's filling every space, and I'm like, dude, I'm trying to hit this John Mayer thing.
Yeah.
Continuum album
yeah.
thing where it's
Slow
like
it down a little bit.
vocal, and it's like we getting the girls involved, and like the beat doesn't move. Like we would play songs like these country tunes that have like this booty grooving, you know, like tempo to them, and the bass is like bump bump, but with the kick, you know, and it's fitting. And by the halfway through the song, I would start to see butts moving, you know. I would start to see like the girls moving around and the guys with them going like, oh crap, like look at my girl, she's starting to
Yeah.
dance. Like this band is like
There's your sign
bringing
right
us
there.
some like energy. And guess what would happen?
What?
By the time we would hit like the end of the second chorus, it would be like confusion in the crowd because my drummer would speed up. And that you got to stay in that pocket.
You have
right?
to.
Like,
As a drummer, you
someone's
have to.
dancing along to you specifically, right? Like you've got to. And that's kind of really the main reason why I ended up having to cut that.
I can't be a drummer. I just can't do it. I can't be the beat.
I'm up for hire.
No, I see you. You play drums for other
I
bands.
try to
and
rip.
like,
I try to, but the click is hard when you're drumming.
Yeah.
It's something that only a certain level of artists can do. And like the ones who don't sit down every day and play to a click. Well,
The same thing with guitar, though. If you're not playing on a click or a metronome every now and then,
but if you're a guitar player, aren't you recording more?
that's true.
So you're like on the click because you're playing the songs and tracking,
Mm-hmm.
you know? When you're a drummer, like the click, when you're tracking, it's usually just like memorize the sections of a song and play to a click. I don't know.
Well, I can't tell you how many times like I've gone on to record a riff or something, and you're so used to just playing it like just with the band, and you go try to play with a click, and you just can't get it.
Oh, and and even though like I could walk in after you're done, and you could have done 15 takes, I could go through all of them and go, that's fine, that fits,
Yeah,
that fits.
right.
You are hearing the one little section
Yeah.
of buzz that like goes over the click line. You know, like,
Exactly.
you can see that grid, and you just get. It's easy to get so like perfectionist with it. And you have to
Absolutely.
kind of stay in that balance, you know. But I'm excited though, because there's this band called the Room Sounds, and they play all around Dallas. They're good buddies of mine. They're all older. I was playing with a lot of guys that were younger. I was leading the charge a lot when it came to setting up equipment, booking shows, running shows, choosing songs, having a sound, performing, getting the crowd involved, engaged, and like posting online. All the stuff that you do that culminates together into like the idea of having an actual career that's moving forward slowly with momentum was me. And a lot of the things that I would do, they just didn't get it because I'm a businessman just as much as I am an artist.
You have to
And
be.
they're more artists than they were businessmen. These guys that are older, I've realized recently, I need to be in rooms and, studios and shows that are with guys who are 5+ years older than I am, who have gone and spent 3 years in Nashville and suffered,
Yeah, learn from them.
who are willing to be like, that sucks. Like, you shouldn't be up there with that band. You should be better. You could be better, And that's kind of the avenue I'm taking right
Well,
now.
your hometown crowd isn't going to tell you that.
They're not.
Yeah, you got to
And they're
step
not going
up.
to support you like a non-hometown crowd will.
That's true. So you just recently went to Nashville, right?
Yeah, I just spent a week there.
Yeah, how was that, man? You went?
Dude, it was freaking awesome. Am I
Yeah.
allowed to swear on this?
Of course.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
fucking bomb.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I thought that I was gonna go there and spend a lot of time there and maybe even move down there sooner than later.
Okay.
But I went and I saw and I did some sessions and I met with Bonnie Baker and I met with some people that are tied into some of the management that I'm with and friends of friends that were like, oh, you're going to Nashville, like meet with my buddy, have a session. I did some writing sessions. I spent a lot of time on Broadway, did some partying with my brother. I actually ran into one of Chris Rock's like management people while I was at Kid Rock's.
Oh, that's cool.
We were like dressed up because I love to dress like a beast, I don't
Sure.
ever want to go out in sweatpants. And they had like these 2-3 older manager guys had these like a bunch of these girls at like a bachelor party that were probably like in their 23 to 25, and these guys were like in their 40s and 50s, backstage. But it's not backstage. It's kind of like just like the section on the side that's just like you can overlook everything. And we walked in, me and my buddy, and they just pulled us in, and I was like, "Why are we here?" He's like, "Because they're old, and it looks better when the ratio has got some young guys in it." So we got to hang out back, and I pulled a beer out of this like ice box, and one of the guys came over to me after I'd popped it and sipped out of it, and he grabbed it and he went, and he put it like in the trash, and I was like, "What, dude? Like,
Yeah.
you just invited me backstage with you. Who's paying for this? The guy who's clearly one of the managers of this Kid Rock's bar, who I spoke to briefly. He was a douche. He's like, yeah, I know Kid Rock. I was like, do you really though? And it was just really odd.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of like a theme that I've dealt with in my career a lot, but not quite at the level that I did in Nashville, which is people are like, oh, so excited to meet you, and they're like, yeah, dude, you sound great, but guess what you are to them?
What's that? A commodity?
Competition.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they might like want to write a song with you and show with you, but they don't want to send you the files for that song because they don't want you to have control over that song.
Yeah.
They don't want you to get a gig at their place and do better than them, right? Like they don't. And I dealt with that for a few years here in Dallas. So because of that kind of mentality and just like how big it was, my mom and I were like, you could definitely kill it here, but you could also get kind of sucked into.
Well,
like,
dude, I think Nashville is probably one of the hardest ones to get into as far
I
as.
could do well.
I think so too.
But
That's definitely your
fall
lane.
into like the same category as all these people who are just going there to work and like trying to make it.
Sure.
And that was kind of the fear. So we decided not to stay, decided to come back, and we were like, you know what, over the next 2 years, we're going to play 3 or 4 of the biggest venues you can get your hands on until, at the time in Nashville, and we'll travel there.
Yeah.
We'll go spend 2 months there.
So tell me, you checked out Jack White's studio, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So cool. I've heard about it. I've seen pictures. Being there was different. There was a line for have you heard about the little recording booth they have?
No, tell me all about it, man.
So they have this, he's obsessed with like old-timey like recording.
Oh, dude, he's got the
stuff.
coolest
He's
stuff.
got the coolest
Yeah.
like mentality about music. And like he broke a record with the fastest microphone to vinyl print of all time. He was recording a Lazaretto, that song.
I love that. Love it.
He recorded that live in front of an audience at that studio in the back warehouse.
No way.
Live, and there was a video feed of the song going through wires, obviously, and into like a mixing board like the one you would have or the one that somebody would have. And like these engineers are running it and mixing it, and it went straight to a record printing thing. And by the time the song was over, there was only about maybe a minute or minute 30. And I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, but I may need to look it up. A minute or a minute 30 left between the time they finished playing the song live and the first vinyl of it was printed.
That's amazing.
It was like printing as they were playing, which is insane.
Yeah.
So when you go in there, you can, I'm gonna look this up, make sure I'm right, but you can go into like this little booth that he has. It's probably like this from here to the wall. It's about here with me, so it's like just this big, and like there's like this little guitar there, and you could cut like a 1 minute 55 second.
Oh, tell me you did that.
Thing. I didn't. There was a line.
Oh man.
I had to go. I had stuff that I had to do, but I'll
Yeah.
go back. I would rather go back to that record shop when it's closed and Jack White and I are like hanging out having a beer.
Well, of course.
You know, like so
Yeah.
I see all these things and I can't help but feel sometimes when I'm in Nashville or LA or like whatever, or New York, like, okay, I've seen it. You know, I'm not a tourist here. I'm a performer.
Yeah,
you know?
you're
like
there to
I
work.
know what the back end looks like, and I'm sure that I'll get there enough to where I can see
feel
more.
that.
But it was still super cool.
Yeah.
That guy chose yellow. Like, what an interesting color.
The studio's yellow?
Well, it's all yellow. Like, he has all this dark, brooding, like, album art and stuff, and it's, like, red and white from the White Stripes and black, and, like, very bold. And then he chose yellow as, like, his branding color for the next however long. I don't know why, but it is so cool because it's so, like, nobody else really does yellow.
Yeah.
I've noticed. It's kind of like a forbidden. It's so bright on TV and on camera. It's like a forbidden
That is kind of weird,
color
yeah.
within like the entertainment.
He just dyed his hair blue too recently.
because he does blue a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the yellow was surprising. I was expecting it to be like dark and like cool and brooding and like almost like cobwebs, but it was not.
Dude, how cool would it be to record there though?
Oh my gosh, dude.
I mean-
oh shit, man. I would die for that kind of thing. And you know what? People like him and like Courtney Love and a lot of these big artists, they will. Like, it's not the day of, like, oh, go play, and some guy in the crowd's going to be, like, a record exec, and he's going to, like, take you in like they did with Bob Dylan or something like that and just throw you on the biggest radio station in the world. But there are moments, you have to work at it now, you know, but there are moments where people like Courtney Love, there's this band called Dead Sarah. They're so cool. I might even pull up a song of theirs. And they're, like, a lot like Hole. Courtney Love, like, found her and was just like, you're awesome. You're on my label now. And this girl was like 23 or 25,
Yeah.
and she was like, what? Who are you? She's like, Hole, baby. I'm from Hole. And it's just, the girl was like, what? You know, she talks about it in an interview. And they do like heart-shaped box and stuff, but this is the chick. So it's like, it's really like realistic to like have something like that happen, but it's so uncommon. But I have a friend of mine who I think I'm going to try to get him to go to
Okay,
right?
yeah, that's
Totally,
sick.
like Courtney Love would love this, you know?
Yeah.
And her voice is fire. It's just,
Yeah, it's almost like Turnstile.
I saw them live.
No way.
I almost got trampled in their freaking mosh pit.
Dude, they're like,
so sick.
dude, I love them, man. Like,
Dude,
they're
they're cool.
one of, as far as like some of like the like bands out right now that you can go see and like just have an absolute fucking blast going to their show. Turnstile.
That one was fun. And I had never really been to like some huge metal show. You know, like I've gone to big rock shows.
Yeah.
But my bass player at the time, who I just fired from the band, you could say, but he's got his own stuff going on. So he was like, okay, I kind of knew this was coming. I could tell you were going in a different direction. He was super sweet about it. He took me along with a buddy, and I wasn't really ready for what we were going to be dealing with. I didn't know what Turnstile was. We listened to them in the car on the way there, and I was like, oh, this is a cool rock band. And I get into the mosh, and it was wild, man. There's a lot of really big. I'm 5'7". I wear boots to make me a little taller, but I'm 5'7". You know, I work out.
Yeah.
You know, I can handle myself if I had to. But a mosh is never like negative. They're not trying to hurt you. Oh, thank you, dude. So I got in there and I just got arm barred right to the ground immediately. It was one of the first real moshes. Like I'd been in moshes at big shows, like Foo Fighters and Linkin Park and like what's the Jared Leto's band?
30 Seconds to Mars.
30 Seconds to Mars.
That's not really like heavy metal though. Yeah.
It's like there's not this like anger being released. Like this. And it's not anger towards everyone else.
It's
in
just
the
a different
mosh.
vibe.
It's just like I come here to see a metal band play, and I come here to let out all my freaking energy.
Yeah.
And like if you're on the wrong side of an arm, dude, you like and I got knocked down and I got trampled briefly. I had somebody step on my liver, or I don't know which side, but I got stepped on, and then I got up, and then a few weeks later, I was like, man, I keep tasting blood.
Oh, no way.
And I got this like, I've got this shard in my nose, and when I sing, I can even feel it sometimes moving around because of the air coming in and out. But like this cartilage shard that's just like floating around right here because of
Ouch.
it. And then like maybe a month or two ago, I went to another show for this band called Daikaiju. Do you know who they are?
No.
Okay, they weren't allowed to do it this year, but they set their instruments on fire at the end of every show. They're like
That's
this,
expensive.
Like, punk, I know, right? But
Damn.
they use shitty stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I noticed. I was like, okay, and they weren't allowed to do it at the very end. Like the bar was like, you can't, because they were about to light stuff on fire.
So they just straight up Jimi Hendrix every show?
All of it, and like the kit, everything. They bring like lighter fluid, and it's like this. It's like this community like experience. Like everybody that's there
That's
knows that
crazy.
they're gonna burn their stuff at the end, and like
Yeah.
people like run around the
Amps and everything?
all of it, and like they put it in the center of the venue. They don't do it in the center of the stage. They
Yeah.
come into the center of the venue and they move down towards the people. And so by the end of it, there's like all these shirtless dudes who are like into metal, like jumping around a fire, like a bunch of like Homo sapiens, you know, like just like a bunch of like Neanderthals. It's hilarious. But I got in that mosh pit, and this guy accidentally, literally like, I literally saw the fear in his face because he was just doing this. But there was this one moment where I was sitting right there, and it was a split second, and I saw him like with his hand, and I saw him go from like, I'm moshing to, I'm about to clock this guy in the face and knock him out, and he nailed me,
Yeah.
and I hit the ground again, and I got up, and I walked away, and I just started spitting up blood, bro.
Yeah.
And since then, I've been like, oh, and my doctor and I had an appointment the other day, and my doctor was like, you're never gonna fix that. Like so that's my story. That's my mosh story.
Yeah, that's
I have a
crazy.
piece of cartilage floating around in my nose now for the rest of my life because of freaking what's the band called again?
30 Seconds to Mars?
No,
or
no,
Turnstile?
no. Turnstile.
Yeah,
Turnstile
Turnstile.
did that to me, bro.
That's crazy. Cheers, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
What's the name of this?
Man, this is Strain of Hands, Blue Peak,
Oh, that's good.
single malt.
I'm taking a picture of that, dude. I'm a whiskey lover,
Ooh.
absolute whiskey lover. It's so good. Oh my gosh. Are these for me?
Yeah, those are yours, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is going on a guitar.
Please.
This is going
Please.
on a guitar.
Yeah. So
I
I
love
gave some to Rickey Mitchell. I had him on the show.
You did?
Yeah.
I think he's the one who recommended this.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I love Rickey. He's such
He's the bomb.
such a fucking talent, dude.
I got a story about him.
Yeah, and so he threw a couple on his guitar, and he's out there in Deep Ellum playing
I
all the time
remember
with
sitting
it.
down here and looking at this and going, like, where have I seen that?
Yeah, probably from him.
It's probably on his guitar, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that is awesome. Ricky and I have an interesting history.
Y'all used to play together, right?
Yeah, did he tell you the story?
He touched on it. He didn't really.
So, like, I graduated from high school. So I did music. Here's a little life story for me. So I was adopted from Russia when I was 8 months old.
Yeah.
And my mom and my dad tried artificial insemination and all this stuff, and they just couldn't have a baby. Surprise, surprise. A few months after I was born, my mom got pregnant with my brother. And then a little while after, another surprise came along, and my little brother. And they say that happens a lot. Once the pressure of like having a baby is over, then like it's like just it happens right
Yeah.
after you adopt a kid. So I grew up in Dallas, and I started playing because my dad showed me Cream. Whip, whip,
Yeah.
whip, whip, and I loved it. And that double kick Ginger Baker stuff, like I don't know what it was, but he had this Audi that had a really good sound, and I would sit in the back. He showed me Johnny Cash, Jack Johnson, all these great artists that he loved. He showed me Black Keys before they were the Black Keys, man. Like, he loved those guys for like 8 years before they got big at all.
Yeah.
Before El Camino. I've been listening to the Black Keys since I was like 6 years old, and they were playing in the mom's basement.
They're a sick band. To be a two piece.
And
Like-
you know what? They put in, and you don't know that nobody. Well, you do, but like most people who are just industry customers, don't know that like overnight success means you add 10 years to that.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of there's a back end of that.
16 years of like touring around and suffering before
Sure.
they even got close to that like album that popped. And that's kind of what my dad and I loved. And he was like, "This band is so raw. They're gonna make it, but like we're gonna put like listen to them when we were younger."
Yeah.
Anyways, I started putting together pots and pans in the kitchen when my mom was cooking, getting spoons and banging on them, and my parents were like, "What the hell? Like, what is this kid doing?"
So you were that kid with the
I was-
pots and pans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so my dad's friend came over one night, and I did that, and he was having just a beer with my dad or whatever, and he has a few kids too, and he was in this band called The Lab, which is the Lakewood area band, Lakewood, right by Lakewood, White Rock Lake.
Okay, yeah.
And a dear friend of mine is the lead singer. They're all family friends, and he was like, "Dude," I think his last name is Winslow. I was like, "Dude, you've got to get this fucking kid a drum kit." And my dad was like, "Are you serious? Like, we're gonna have to deal with this every single day?" And he was like, "Yeah, you guys have a back house. Just put it in the back house."
Yeah.
So, Christmas that year, I get a first act drum kit and a guitar. Like the Toys R Us first act.
Yeah, of course.
I brought a bunch of friends over, and we would stand there, and we just played randomness, and we thought we were so cool. And then I started taking lessons, learning some guitar. I hated lessons. My parents were like, "Whatever, like this kid doesn't want to sit still." And we went to Mexico. And then when I was 9, we moved to Mexico for 2 years to learn Spanish. I think I have relatives there. Just because my parents are both from D.C., they met on Capitol Hill. My mom did renewable energy for a long time, traveling around the world. My dad was in not Wells Fargo. It's some other big banking finance company, getting to travel. And my mom worked in Congress, representing some congressmen. So like their emphasis on just being like having a worldview that is accurate, not liberal or like educated, like go to like a really nice like Ivy League. No, it's more like go when you're on the street when there's that woman begging for change in Mexico, ask her what her name is, and have the courage as a kid, because you've been in enough situations like that to like see poverty and engage with it, see different customs and ask about them. And
Yeah, I think that's just being human. Yeah, that's just being human, honestly.
Right? And a lot of people my generation, I don't think that they've had experiences when they were younger that cultivated them to act in that way.
Sure.
Just by nature. So I got lucky with that. And while I was there was this singing coach named Elena Shoemaker. There's this one before her, but the one before her was right when I got there. I had no friends and I didn't speak Spanish. My mom found this singing coach because I was at School of Rock before we left, and they had me singing Thunderstruck because I had randomly auditioned because this jerk kid who was a buddy of mine, but he was still kind of a jerk to me because I was the youngest kid in the group, pushed me into the audition room, and the auditioners were like, "Are you gonna sing?" And I was like, "Thunderstruck," and they're like, "Yeah, you should probably sing this one." And it wasn't even
one.
I wasn't even trying. I didn't even know why I was pushed in that room. And I got lucky. And they were like, "Okay, you're singing this song." So I went there to learn Spanish. But my mom had realized, okay, maybe he could sing. He's playing drums and stuff all the time now. He's wanting to pick up a guitar sooner than later. Like he keeps picking it up, but he doesn't know what he's doing. Won't sit through a lesson. And we moved to Mexico, and there was this vocal coach, and I'm trying to remember her name, but I can't. And she was so cool. She was like if Axl Rose was a woman.
Really?
Spanish from Mexico City. She was the coolest.
Did she have a top hat and everything? Big,
Oh my gosh.
Big tall top hat.
No, not the top hat, but she had like Steven Tyler, and what's her name? I want to get a tattoo of her. I can't even remember her name. Stevie Nicks. Thank you so much. The Stevie Nicks shawl.
Yeah.
She's just cool. She had the boots on all the time. She just always looked rings, skulls, like a rocker. And she was in some big cover metal band in Mexico City. She'd moved away from like an abusive husband or something like that. She was teaching. So she taught me how to sing Yellow by Coldplay and Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
And I did this little like recital, and it was great. So we kind of fell out with her because I think she went back to Mexico City, or she went on her own career because she was maybe in her 30s. Oh, and she was clearly like still, taking time in her career and doing things. And there was this new one, Elena Shoemaker. She's 77 years old. Had drank Mick Jagger under the table one time. It was like her go-to story. She's a white woman. So this is a part of Mexico called San Miguel de Allende, and it's in Guadalajara. And it's the only city in Mexico that has a not a Four Seasons. It's called a Rosewood Hotel. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
They're like the kind of hotel that Jeff Bezos would stay in.
Yeah, they're massive luxury
They
ones.
finally got like a Rosewood, and so it's where all these Americans go. It's right in the center of where a lot of the drug problems happen, but it's got this weird bubble around it because of some of the. Everybody knows, like, don't mess with the people in San Miguel because the American government has come down there and has brought like, and they don't talk about this, but has brought like military force down there to like find like.
So you're fluent in Spanish? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like people know, like, don't mess with San Miguel. They got all the whiteys there, all the people from the United States are there, all these tourists. It's still cobblestone streets. There's still horse-drawn carriages. It is literally like walking into like 1918. It's so cool.
Wow.
While I was there, that teacher, Elena Shoemaker, used to do this thing. She was so cool. She would punch me in the stomach. By the time I get to my lesson, she would be like 5 glasses of wine in. She'd punch me in the stomach and be like, sing it like Mick. And what she's talking about is what I just practiced today with my coach, diaphragm. You know this, right?
Yeah.
Like you use your diaphragm to push air out of your lungs instead of your throat. Like
That's
you
what they
would when you
say,
yell.
yeah.
And when you yell, you can destroy your vocal cords. And when you use your diaphragm, it's the correct way to sing. And I did this recital with her, and it was like a play mixed with a recital. And I wore this silly, there's a video somewhere, but there's pictures on my Instagram, I think. Silly, huge foam sailor's hat. I was playing the sailor who gets caught by the sirens in the thing. And I sang Bridge Over Troubled Water. Like a bridge over troubled water, I will bring you down. And all the women started crying. And I was like, what did I do wrong? I didn't understand.
Yeah,
I was like maybe 9 or 10 at the time. And my mom was like, you don't even know how like everyone here has got like somebody that they love, that they've lost, who they wish they could have been that bridge for, whatever it is. And now that song, I love that song. Like, it's one of my favorite songs of all time. And that's where it began. I was playing instruments already a little bit, but that was the moment where I was like, all right, maybe I could sing. So I go back to the United States. We apply to get into St. Mark's and some other private schools. My brothers and I both get into St. Mark's, the all-boys school on Preston. I have to go back for testing. I have to get shots and do like a checkup before I go into the school year. It's just me and my dad. And he's in town, so he stayed in Dallas to work because he runs a company while we were in Mexico. And while I'm there, I started going to school at Rock. And that's when somebody kicked me in the room and was like, sing Thunderstruck. You know, I'd sung before at School of Rock in some little things, but it wasn't the Thunderstruck level.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I was 12 then, and it was like, oh, this guy's got some pipes.
Those School of Rock classes, man, they have some stars in there.
They do.
Yeah.
And I think on the back end of it, being 22, I don't resent, but I definitely regret allowing the psychological musical tastes of a lot of the teachers influence what I believed was cool music.
So they're real pushy about what they make you do. And
Not really, but it's called School of Rock. So if it doesn't rock.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of indoctrinating a lot of these kids, I think, in this ideology that rock is cool, which it is. But, you know, so is like, the kind of guy who right now would be doing this same song as like, never gonna give you up. Like, that's still great music.
Sure.
People smile, people have a good time. And I got locked into this idea that like if it didn't have distorted guitar in it, a little bit of fuzz, you know, then it was just like not cool. Although I wouldn't be as far as...
That is the image that they put out there, though.
It is. It really is. And it's like rock and roll is so cool. And I think that it's different for everyone. I think that I definitely got influenced by that. Because that was like, when I was recording that song, that single, that was like the guy who told me that was like, you got indoctrinated by School of Rock, was Caleb.
Okay.
When we did that song, those pop songs, I was like, oh man, I want to put some guitar on this. He's like, shut up. Like, you are wrong.
Yeah, try
like,
something else.
It's you see how much fun you're having, bro? Like, just because it doesn't have rock in it, you know, it doesn't mean that it's not cool. And I think that School of Rock indoctrinated you. And since then, I've been thinking about it like, ooh, maybe they did. So.
And I mean, now that you
Or-
say it, I definitely see it. Yeah,
right? A lot of the kids in School of Rock that you'll see that are from School of Rock are still playing in metal bands right now.
sure.
You know, and like if they didn't have that, maybe there's a chance they would have been playing in more, what's the word? Successful, commercial-based musical endeavors that can be like their main like slice of the pie, and then they get to go have their metal band, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they won't do that. Their pride is too strong, I think, and mine was too.
Well, it's
although I
hard.
do
It's
love
hard
School of
to
Rock.
it's
I
hard
don't
to
wanna,
switch
like-
out of things that you're comfortable with. You
It
know?
is so hard to,
You know,
right?
yeah.
And then when you get indoctrinated into like just this like Kiss, Zeppelin, Who, all
Yeah.
these people that are just so rock and roll and that they used to destroy, you know, hotel rooms. Like you just totally think that's so cool, you know. And anything that's not is just, lame,
Yeah.
wah wah wah, you know.
So you go there, you go to Mexico, you're doing vocal classes. At what point do you go, okay, I think I'm ready for American Idol?
Totally farther down the line. Okay, I guess this is the day I've been waiting for. Like, there's nobody here in Dallas anymore that I know. What do? And I go home, and my mom and I sit down, and she's like, well, there's an open mic tonight at Depot Marco. Go ahead. And so I went to the open mic, slid in without getting ID'd, had a drink, you know, met with all these musicians, and I started hanging out in Deep Ellum. And I would go down to Deep Ellum every night, for like 6 months, every single night. And I would buy a cigar, $2, $3 cheap cigar. I'd walk, and I would wait until it was done burning, and I'd walk the blocks over and over again. It's a miracle I didn't get held up at gunpoint before I did. And I was like 18, and all the homeless guys and I would, you know, shoot the shit. All the bouncers knew who I was, which was a mistake because later on I tried to get in with my fake ID, and they were like, weren't you like 18 like a year ago? And I was like, no, I was just bullshitting you. But I started looking in, peering into all these places, and I met Rickey on the street.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I listened to him play. And I sat across the street at this other place, my glasses on, and I faced the opposite direction. And I looked over and I saw who he was, and I just sat there and listened for like 30 minutes, and I was like, this guy hasn't stopped to take a break.
He's undeniable.
Like, who is this motherfucker?
Yeah.
Like, what? And so I walk up to him, I'm like, dude, I just rented out this new studio space. Why don't we get together? And so he's like, yeah, as long as you pick me up. And he was going through some stuff on his own. He was kind of finding his path as a young adult.
Yeah.
He was probably my age now, or like 21 or 22 when I was 18. I think he's a few years older than me. So he was like in that place that I'm looking at, which is like moving out of the house, fully separating from family financially. So he
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
have a
Just
car.
spreading your wings, getting out of there.
Exactly. He didn't
Yeah.
have a car. He was staying at this, like, some other place, so I had to come pick him up. We go over to the studio. We start working together. I've had this idea for a band called Fifth Phoenix for like 4 years since I was in middle school. I wrote it down on like a scribble.
Yeah, yeah.
Fifth Phoenix, what a cool name. I'd written all these ideas out, but that was the one that stuck. And I was like, let's be a band called Fifth Phoenix. We get this drummer from Fort Worth named Taylor, who's killing it right now, dude. Oh my God, he's playing with some of the best country acts in Texas right now. The kid's like 22. He's like one of the best drummers. I'm so bummed that he's not playing with me anymore. But put this thing together, and I found myself, it sounded cool. He was developing, he doesn't play chords. Like, he doesn't play like a C, D, E.
Yeah.
He just hears and does.
Yeah, it's
right?
amazing.
So I was like playing bass, waiting for some other guy to come play bass, trying to find some other guy to fill for me so I could play alongside him on guitar. And we put in like 6 months, 8 months even, recording all these songs. And man, I wonder if I still have some of the songs on my
That's two different songwriting styles, though. You
100%.
have like the chord writer, and then you have just the imperviser. I'm more in the vein of like
Super-
improvising.
I'm super commercial too.
Yeah, yeah. So you're
I'm
more
like,
chords and.
What's the last line of the chorus? Well, baby, it's just smoke. Cool. What chord is that? A D? Well, baby, it's just smoke. All right, we got 4 lines to work backwards from that one hold out and then give us that killer line, right? That's how I operate. And that's not how he operates.
No, not at
So,
all.
At a certain point, I was playing bass. We were playing all these open mics, and we had this drummer, and we didn't sound bad at all. Like, there were good song ideas. My voice sounded good. He was singing here and there, but he was playing his butt off on guitar, and we were just having so much fun. And my mom, who's been like my cheerleader my whole entire life, like my life would not be where it is today without that woman. She was just like, Griffin, this is not gonna be easy for you, and I know that you just built this. but it's not about you anymore. And like, I'm never gonna let you do something like longer than a few months that's not about you, because you have to, because your future is as a Keith Urban or as like a Bon Jovi, and there are people who are gonna be willing to come in on the wings and support you.
Sure.
You don't have to like slide in and like create this band with these guys. How good they are doesn't matter, but it's like the path needs to change. And I was like, okay. She sat me down and she told me this, like, I know this is gonna be hard for you because you become really good friends with these guys, and you're young. And this is the first business endeavor you ever kind of considered as an actual like adult, but you got to end it. So I called him over. I drove him to the studio. We jammed, and then at the end I sat down with him and I was like, hey, listen, like, this is gonna be the last time we jam as a band.
Yeah.
And I told him verbatim, I said, I think that the best, most realistic lifestyle and future for the two of us is that we may find ourselves playing the same bill in 3 or 4 years with our own bands.
And that's what happened,
3
right?
or 4 years later, he and I played the same bill.
Yeah.
At the venue that I put all this work into, it stands.
And I think that fits y'all way better.
It does.
Yeah.
We stayed right there, and what it was my mom finally said to me, she said, Griffin, you and Rickey are the same guy, and there can only be one of you in a band.
Exactly.
You're going to eventually... And you think you're going to knock him out, bro? He's going to knock you out, bro.
Yeah.
He's going to take you down, bro. He's going to take the band and run because he's so good. And you are too, but like the things that you guys are doing aren't showing these guys how good what you do.
It's like the Roger Waters, David Gilmour thing. I mean,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
they just butt heads because they're
Yes.
so good.
And it's weird because later on, more recently, like obviously we're in this place where he's got like this bus and they're playing on top of the bus. And
I
they're
love that,
traveling,
dude. It's so
and
sick.
He's doing all this stuff and he's starting to play inside the venues. And when they really started to play in the venues, I think it had a lot to do with me and my man Hayden with Work in Progress, because I was like, Hayden, check out this guy. Like, I'd known him for forever ago. I saw him at this open mic and I was like, oh, what's up? And then I came and played with him on the street with my amp alongside them in Deep Ellum, and we had some fun. We started reconnecting and talking and hanging out.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, you should get these guys booked in at stands. Like,
It's amazing how much like Hayden is connected, because I had him on the show also. He's connected to like everybody,
he's the
dude.
bomb.
Yeah.
And like a lot of those things aren't things that he's aware of. They're like people like me, and like, you know, he and I would probably agree that I'm considered like a partner in the work that he does. We just finished a year-long residency running stands,
Yeah.
which he and I both took serious like knees on that stuff sometimes because we had to like put in some serious work.
Y'all put on some killer shows though.
Did, man. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Avery Burke, dude. Crowd surfed at stands, dude.
Oh, no
They haven't
shit.
had live music in 7 to 9 years. And like, from what I've been told and from what I've researched, it seems like it's possible that Willie Nelson and Steve Ray Vaughan both played there before they stopped
no
doing
way.
music. So like, that's a historical stage in my
Yeah.
opinion. And that was such an amazing experience. And I mean, you may not know this, but you know, they weren't willing to go farther. And we weren't getting paid the way we should have. And some things just didn't pan out. Everyone there was sweet and kind.
Yeah.
But we ended up kind of pulling out. So we did a year-long residency there. And that's kind of where Rickey had only been playing on the streets from what I've seen. And then when me and Hayden kind of like grabbed him by the nape of the neck and dragged him into stands.
Yeah.
And he saw all the white girls from SMU like drooling over him and played, he was like, fuck the street. I don't think I've seen him play on the street in months, man.
Dude, when he came on the show, he was like, I don't really go out in the street anymore.
Yo, I take a lot of pride in the fact that I had to like put him down and be like, yo, we can't be in a band together.
Yeah.
Which he clearly was super into when we were doing it. And then getting to watch him like make that transition, I felt like so much guilt in the year or so after that. Because I'd see bands with great guitar players and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom and I would go see shows and stuff all the time since I was a kid. And I was just like, I couldn't help but like think about like Rickey, you know, and be like,
Sure.
damn, like I feel like I gave this guy like, let him smell the pie and then pulled it away from him because I know I'm really good at what I do, and so is he. And then when I started to see him play live again, I was like playing with the group. And funny story, I know the guy. I played Curtain Club, opening up for the band Cleo Cadence, Love Past Blue, in 2015, with the bass player who played for Cleo Cadence at the time, who now plays for Rickey, Joe.
Small world, dude.
Joe also went to LA to play with this band called the Darbies, who, surprise, surprise, like 6 to 8 months before they had him playing.
Yeah.
They had hit me up on this thing called Band Mix. You know what that is?
I've heard of that, yeah.
So it's like Tinder for musicians. Kind of
Exactly.
like you put together a band, put all your videos down, and show them all your stuff and all your content, and then people will like audition or they'll talk to you, and then you can get connected with artists who are willing to, and musicians who are willing to come in and play for you or whatever you want. I got this. Open up my whatever it's called. I see that he's out here playing with the Darbies, right? I'm like, Joe, way to go, man. That's sick. And he's got his shirt off. He's got ripped, he's got abs and they're like tattoos and like super cool, like Stevie Nicks vibes, like they're rock and roll all the way, and they're touring in Mexico. And I look at my band mix because I accidentally clicked on it when I was on my computer. And they had invited me to be their singer like 8 months beforehand. And then he leaves that band and he comes back and then I come and play on the street with them and I look over and I go, Joe? Like, what? Mm-hmm. And I went, oh, I love this. I ship this. That's my story with Rickey. And we actually kind of, like, talked about it recently, and it was like, do you remember when we kind of said, like, wait till we're older and we've got bands of our own?
Yeah.
It was kind of like.
Y'all called it.
Yeah. And here we are. Cool.
Y'all both have killer bands,
Dude,
too.
that guy is so good at guitar. It is like, oh, it's so cool.
Dude, I've been playing a long time, and I've met a lot of people in Dallas, and he's, like, top of the list of people I've met as far as just like fluidity and just able to just improvise. His improvising is just ridiculous to me. Yeah.
And it's an ear thing. Mm-hmm. I've been teaching now for the first time in my life, like 6 to 8, well, maybe about a year. Actually, yeah, more like a year. And like, there's students that come in that are like Rickey. There's students that come in that are like me. And then there's students that come in that are like totally different than both of us. But a lot of the things that I do when it comes to teaching is like I'm trying to teach these kids how to have an ear. Yeah. Not how to like play chords, but like how to like know when they're not playing the chord right. It's a skill, yeah. And it's a skill that's built. Yep. And like I got lucky enough to build it. So did some of my buddies, like, and somebody else you should have on the show is William Dunnell. He's awesome. And so did Rickey, but not everyone gets that, like, I don't know what you call it, just like the talent of being able to hear something and then like hear. Not everyone gets an ear that tells them no when they play the wrong thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, alarm bells, wrong chord, wrong note, like people sometimes, I've seen it, like buddies of mine even who are like with their band are like half a step down and their whole band's in standard. Dude, it takes a time. And it's like, do you not realize that you just played everything a half step down and like it sounded like the most cacophonous thing you could ever like hear because you just didn't hear the difference, And not everyone has that. It takes time to develop that though. Yeah, he does. How did you meet Rickey? Dude, I just stumbled upon him walking one night in Deep Ellum, and he was on the street there. And then, I didn't really pay much mind to it then. I was just like, damn, he's killer. He's the only guy who does it. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. I don't think he does anymore because he comes out and plays with us now, and I know that Hayden's got tons of opportunities he's building for Rickey. Mm-hmm. But he was the only guy who did it. It's exactly how I met him. Dude, I mean, he's fit for that though. His whole vibe, his style, everything. He's so sweet and kind. Yeah, coolest dude. Like he can interact with anybody on the street, which is like, I've done a lot of street performing. I did some in Spain this year, and then I've done some in Prague, and like I've done stuff in Europe, and that's really where like you can test who you are because they're people that have no tie. Like they don't have tie to like listening to the country radio. Yep. They're just randoms. Right. Completely. They don't even speak your fucking language. That's what language. They say. Like, you can be a total star at America and go overseas and be nobody. And guess what? I think for me, it might be the opposite. I made so much money playing on the street in Spain, dude. Really? Oh, my God. I played Cowboy or Dead or Alive or whatever, like, maybe, like, 115 times in the course of 5 days. Yeah. People were like, Bon Jovi? Bon Jovi? And I was like, you're damn right. What the hell? Why are these Turkish people, Spanish people, French people, German people, Swedish people, Finnish people all asking me to play fucking Bon Jovi? Like, what the heck? And then I just kind of like did some research on him because I love the guy already. Yeah. And I realized like he put a lot of time into his career to like engage with everyone, not just like United States. You have to. And that's kind of what my mom and I are doing. You have to, man. You have to diversify. It's not easy. You have to. You got to spread your wings, especially in the internet age. Oh, you have to go. If you don't, then you're screwed. Yeah, dude. You're only hindering yourself. Exactly. And I have like this weirdly big fan base in Brazil right now. Dude, that's odd. It's really odd. Yeah. It's like a weird feeling. I'm like, well, what do I do when I go down there if I do? You speak Portuguese or what? It's like I have They speak English, you know. Woo!
Nice.
Yeehaw.
Anyway, so I gotta know about American Idol, dude.
Okay,
so
sorry.
tell me your experience with American Idol.
Full disclosure. Mind if I pour one?
Go ahead, dude. Yeah, help yourself.
This may not be like the most amazing portrayal of what American Idol is about.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't have an NDA, and I will talk about it because it was good. It was a good experience, but it also wasn't the kind of experience that most people are expecting when they see the show. So American Idol, oof, that was a big one. So I have this management, Brianna Relis Music on Instagram. Check her out. She's the bomb. Thanks. She just released a book about management and stuff, but she was on American Idol when she was a younger artist, maybe like in her mid-20s. And because of that, she met a lot of the producers. First thing I'll say, this thing is a fucking TV show.
Yeah, of course.
So I did not have that mentality yet when I went into it. People told me that over and over again, and I went, I'll just be sweet and kind, be myself, and I'll get there. And, how wrong I was, I had no idea. You care if I hit this, by the way?
Go ahead. Do your thing, man.
And so she goes, okay, Griffin, like, I've got this person from American Idol who's been asking me if I have anybody that I can throw her way, she's a producer, in the auditions that are more like professionally based.
Sure.
So like people who already performing live. When you go do the cattle call. So if you're listening right now and you've tried to do American Idol, here's the deal. This is what I did. I got past the first cattle call without even doing anything because Brianna made a phone call and was like, this kid's ready. He's really good. Here's a video. Here's a few videos of him playing. I work with him directly, and I see him every week. So I know his family. I can tell them where to go, when to go. They're like, okay, cool. Thank you, Brianna. They want good people on there.
Yeah, of course.
Why? So they can cut them. We'll get to that. But I go in to Waco. I sleep my ass off in the car because I was up late drinking or whatever the night before. And my mom drives me to Waco. I wake up. I'm in Waco. I'm like, what the fuck? Where am I? And she's like, put these on. And she gives me my boots and my outfit. I was like, oh, is this the day for the American Idol thing? Like, I was so tired when I walked over to the car in the morning that I didn't even remember walking to the car.
Yeah.
I was confused as to why I was there. And I walk in, and there's this woman standing there with my name tag, waiting for me, like for me. I was like, what the fuck? And then there's all these people like funneling into this gym to be in the cattle call line, and I was like, looking at my mom like, what the fuck are we doing here, bro? Like, I'm not about to wait 9 hours to go sing in front of some asshole. Like,
seriously.
Get on a TV show that I don't even watch.
Yeah.
But she's like, no, you go through this door.
So this is season 3.
Season 3,
This is
auditions.
This is like peak American Idol. Like, everyone was super watching that shit.
Yeah, they were. And like, this is season 3, but it was done during the airing of season 2. So we're talking 2020. I'm doing this interview, and 2021 is when I actually went to Hollywood Week. So like they're doing all the interviews and all the like auditions way before. People that you're seeing on the final product are people that have been in the process.
Oh sure, yeah. I mean,
a year and a half or 2 years already. You know,
they got to go through production and all that.
Yeah, exactly. It's all this production thing, and I didn't realize how complicated like a TV show is. I think about like audio, and I think like play live. Okay, there's a visual. You walk up on stage, turn on your amp, make sure you're sound checked. But like, dude, fucking TV. Oh my god, there's so much stuff. There's so many guys whose names you'll never know who are just doing things like carrying things or holding things. You're like, you're just a tech guy. It's like, yeah. And then you look over, there's like 55 more of them just standing there doing the same thing. It's like, whoa.
That's why the
this
production
is why it costs so much, bro.
Exactly.
Like, it makes so much sense. And so I go into this big gym, and I'm on the corner of the gym with like 15, maybe 20 other kids. Okay. And they're all like total stars.
Yeah.
Like, they're all like, one girl's got her like bedazzled bedazzled
They all
high
have their
tops
thing.
all the way up to her leg.
Yeah, yeah.
And her mom's like right there, like trying to prim her hair. Like they're all got the same thing going on that I do, where it's like, oh shit, our kid plays music. Let's promote the fuck out of them and try to build them a career. Mm-hmm. Skill levels are different. When it comes to just being an artist in general, you have to have a package. You can be not the best singer, but the best performer, and still make it. Great writer, not the best looking, still make it, right? Depends on like what that package is, but you got to have a certain amount. You got to hit the boxes to a certain level on every single thing. Performance, looks, artistic creativity, ability to work with others,
marketable,
healthy,
all that. Yeah.
right? Like self-conscious and aware, And so there's a lot of these people who had that big package going on with a bunch of those different things and support behind them. We sit in this line. I wait for like 2 hours to get my first audition. They take me from one room, and the people in the cattle call haven't moved. I'm moving up like every 15 minutes. We're moving up 3 people because they're taking 3 at a time or so of these pros. And like I was at the end of the line. Like there was only like a select like 40 of us for a whole 2 days of cattle call, which is like, I don't know, up to like 4,500 people.
Yeah.
And they haven't moved. You can hear people auditioning in the room, and we're in a different room. So we go through this door after 2 hours. I filled out these forms, and then I'm sitting in another room. My mom comes in. She can sit with me here, this room. And we're waiting, and I met this girl named London Lawhorn. You're the bomb. Your baby's so cute, by the way. Way to be a mom. You're going to be a great mom. She just had a kid. She's so cool. She's the sweetest. I'm very excited for them. And she's telling me about her experience 2 years ago and the year before in American Idol, and I was sitting there going, I'm going to be here for 5 hours? What the fuck? I was there for 5 hours.
Damn.
So I go in, sitting there for another hour after we get into the next room. Then I go sit with somebody with a computer. They ask me a bunch of questions about me. Some of them have to do with, like, are you, like, some crazy convicted murderer? No.
Yeah,
Cool.
they're doing their simple
Then there's,
check.
like, also, like, do you have, like, just allergies, all these weird things. Like, they just need to know information to make sure that, they're liable for certain things.
Exactly.
On a show.
Yep.
And then we go to another one where I kind of tell my life story. And then I go in and I actually play for the judges. I get, like, 2 lines into the song. And they go, all right, fuck off. You're getting in. See ya.
So you had Simon.
No, it wasn't them yet.
Oh, so this
the part
is
that
the pre.
people get their mind blown about.
Okay.
First 2 auditions were not in front of people that were on the
So
actual show.
so they're even doing that to shitty people too then.
Yeah. They're like they wouldn't like take somebody, a random person off the street and put them in front of Simon. You know?
Okay.
Like they're gonna like make sure that they're good enough, to be on TV and can handle it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it was fucking weird. We did that. We paid our way to go to Waco. Obviously, paid to get back. 5 hours. I did the audition. They're like, cool. You're gonna get a call back probably. We're gonna email you. Cool. I wait 5 months. 5 months later, hey Griffin, we would love for you to come out to LA on our own bill,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To audition for our executive producers. So I'm like, fuck it. My mom and I, put the money down. We get the tickets to LA. We go get into a hotel right next to the place that we're supposed to be doing it. I'm fooling around, like hanging out in the dispensaries, trying to get into one because I was like 19 or 20 at the time, and I was like, couldn't quite old enough. This time I went through though. This time I was in Anaheim recently. I was old enough, man, and I
Yeah.
got to go to a dispensary for the first time. It was so cool.
I went to the one for the first time in Illinois.
Oh my gosh,
like last
this is the
year.
weirdest, best feeling in the
It's
world.
weird, right?
It's
Yeah.
like, oh my god, if only my drug dealer could do this in the back of his house. Like,
Right. Shit's just expensive in there.
It is though.
Yeah.
It's expensive, but it's worth it because you get in your car and not feel like a douche.
Right.
Contributing to like the freaking drug war in Mexico.
Yeah.
And so I'm fooling around, and the day comes to do the audition. We show up at 7. I wait there for 5 hours, sitting next to, and I meet this kid named Francisco Martin. Francisco Martin and I were good buddies at the time. Most insecure guy in the world. He was top 5. He had acne all over his face. Little Asian kid with his friend, or this girl that I think they were like maybe more than friends, but they hadn't like, said it yet. And his family, and my mom was just like, she could just talk for hours. So they start chatting, the mom starts chatting, and we're sitting there for so long. He and I start playing John Mayer songs together, and then I get into the audition room, and I get in. They pull me up to the next floor with a group of like 7 or 10 other contestants.
Okay.
We're all standing in this line. This girl starts hitting on me. And I was like, you're fucking 15. like fuck off.
Yeah.
It was really, really weird. I cold shouldered her, and all the other guys that were like lined up with me were like, you know, like, go on, soldier, like, way to go, because she was very pretty, but she was definitely younger, you know, and it was really odd. It was really odd. It was a weird experience. I have never quite been hit on like that before in my life.
Yeah.
It was something that.
So you're waiting 5 hours.
Guys don't do that. They don't get that kind of attention. It was super odd. We're waiting for that people. They come in. They have us fill out a few more forms. We're there for like 30 minutes. Then they start pulling people in the room. I get in the room. Yo, it's 2 white bitches. They look like my mom. 2 old white ladies. And I just start playing Everlong by the Foo Fighters. And they go, okay, cool. Here's your golden ticket. And
No way.
It's this cardboard golden ticket.
Yeah.
And I was started telling them my story. Like, we don't give a shit about your story, Griffin. You sing good enough and you're cute. Get out of here.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And I was like, maybe it wasn't quite that aggressive.
So
but
did
it
you
was
ever
that
get?
energy.
Did you ever get the typical audition like?
Oh yeah, no. So that's
Okay.
the second audition.
Yeah.
This is the thing that people don't know. So that's where the behind the scenes ends.
So you had already been given your ticket ahead of before you even saw the judges?
So that golden ticket, they called it a golden ticket, but they're also kind of creating an experience for the contestants because they're like making you feel like you're so great.
Sure,
They
yeah.
want you to be smiling on camera.
Yeah.
It's a piece of cardboard. It resembles the golden ticket to get to actually play it in front of the judges.
Okay.
So the next one, we leave. I tell them, I sit down in this room with my mom and this lady on a computer that I'd spoken to earlier I'd seen her in Waco. She'd actually done one of my intake pieces in Waco on the computer. I tell her where I want to go. She said, you can come to LA or you can go to Oregon to do your audition in front of the judges. We're like, fuck LA. Like, we don't want to be with a bunch of people from LA.
That's a bad. I wouldn't. Yeah.
It's a bad batch. So we choose Oregon. And LA was going to be like a week later, and I had stuff to do, and we were like, nah. So we did Oregon. It was like a few months later. It was the very end of the year. It was like November, right before Thanksgiving, and it was freezing, dude.
Yeah, I
So
bet.
cold. So we go all the way up to Bend, Oregon. We pay for just to be clear, for you too, thinking about doing American Idol, we paid for every single audition up until our flight to Hollywood week.
No way.
Only thing that was paid for was our flight back home after I got cut.
That's crazy.
3 auditions, 3 cities.
How much you think you came out of pocket? A couple thousand?
I think we did a total of 12 plane tickets.
So yeah, that's thousands of dollars.
No, we put a good like 6 to 7K in.
Of course, yeah.
And then so we go up to Bend, pay for the flight, get a rental car, drive 2 hours away from the airport to go up to Bend, Oregon. Get there, it's beautiful. I get why they did it because of the visuals, man. Like they've got this. There was like elk like hanging out on the lawn of this place, and it was like the frost. You can see the frost.
Oh, dude, it's beautiful up there.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
So there's this big, and this is the funniest part I think of all of it, or one of 2. But next morning, auditions start. You have to be there at 5:45. We get there at 5:45.
That's their
There's a
call
line
time?
out the door of this it was like a big cabin, a big log cabin type of vent space that they had chosen on this big golf course area. So people have been sitting here already for like 25 minutes because it's like the new iPhone. You know, they want to be first, even though they don't realize that they're going to get in there and they're going to be given times to actually audition. So my mom and I were like dragging our feet, like, fuck this. Like, we don't need to worry about getting there on time. Like, they're going to be doing this all day long. You know, we'd figured it out because Brianna's on the phone, like, telling us, like, don't worry about it, you know? And we get there, 5:45. We stood there for 30 minutes in the cold. This is a common theme on American Idol. They will put you in cold weather, bring a scarf, because they want to destroy the people who don't have voices and ruin their voice. And if they can't make it through the cold weather, they won't make it on tour because eventually they take them on a tour across the United States playing, right? When they get to the top 10, 20, whatever. And if you can't handle those first auditions and being in the cold for 30 minutes before you get to sing, then you can't handle the tour. So they do everything to break you down, right? It's like SEAL training, SEAL school or whatever, right?
Psychological shit.
So we're standing out there in the freezing cold, and everybody's sitting there going like dressed up in their like cute outfits to be like in front of Katy Perry. And they're not bringing like a big jacket, and we're just shivering there. And my mom and I are like, fuck this. We have a hotel right down the road. My mom and I just like went and got big blankets and just like grabbed some chairs out of whatever, and we just sat there way away from everyone, just waiting for the line to move.
Yeah.
and just kind of chilled. And I just kind of like snuggled up and fell asleep for a little while. And then the line starts moving. She's like, get your ass up. Like I said, she's an angel. But she drags me in there. We go in there. We sign up more things, more wristbands, more pictures, more photo booth stuff. And then like I get there and they're like, okay, here's the auditions for today. All right, auditions will be tomorrow for this group. So the next day was my auditions. So I sat there the whole time waiting to have my name called. We sat there for 14 hours waiting for my name to be called for 2 different types of press. So they did like video stuff and then they did like an interview.
Yeah.
Once that was done, I went home and I went back to sleep and called my girlfriend or whatever, and hung out with that guy Francisco because he was there too. He had actually, like, since the last time I'd seen him, started to really develop. And like he started, like, I was like, when I told him I saw him, I was like, dude. But at first time I was like, dude, put on a button down, bro. You look hotter, dude. You're a handsome kid, man. Now this guy's like killing it. He's like totally went super all like the whole way on American Idol and got a huge fan base.
What did you end up singing for the judges?
So that first day, I was one of the first 5 to go. I was second person in line. They say they put the people who do like the non-cattle call interviews first because they don't want the judges to be tired because by the end of the day, they're like tired of.
I'm sure, yeah.
So I'm standing in line, second in line. This girl in front of me is she's from Sweden or Scotland, Scottish, gorgeous, quite gorgeous, very pretty. Goes in, sings so loud and powerfully and amazingly that I could hear her through the giant oak double doors. Like it was insane how loud she was to have been able to hear her. And I was like chattering my boots, and I go to the guy, I go, should I do an original or should I do a cover? He was like, do whatever you think.
So you were at the door not even sure what you were going to sing?
I never choose a set until I go on stage.
Oh, wow.
Unless I have like a big show. Like if I play Granada,
that's like
have a set written.
Like Pearl Jam used to do that shit back in the day.
Yeah, you just feel, it's like you feel like, okay, if I want to play this right now and it's going to make me happy, I'm sure it's going to make the crowd happy.
Sure.
Or sometimes, I've had set lists where I've like played a set and had it written out, and then the crowd is like the opposite of what I should have played, So I've kind of learned to like get in that moment, stand in front of the microphone, and give it a few minutes, a few seconds, and go, okay, that's probably gonna fit best, And I knew what I was gonna do either one, and he was like, do a cover, do whatever you want, but do a cover, maybe. And I should have done an original. If I had done an original, I wouldn't be on this podcast today. Okay, I think deep down, my mom and I agree. Like, if I had to play one of my original songs that day, out of the get-go, I would have like been top 5 that year. Yeah. But I go in, I play Tennessee Whiskey, which I'd already played like 100, 200 times, so I was bored. And they're like, sounds great, I was bored. I go in, they're giggling about something at the table, and I'm like, here to that wall, away from the judges, because of space for the cameras and stuff. So talking about myself, Lionel's the one who kind of ran my interview for the first one. Okay. And he was like, so tell us about you, Griffin. And I'm like, Lionel Richie just said my name. He's such a beast. He's so sweet. He's like the warm hearth of a fire.
That's got to be intimidating standing right there.
It was.
Yeah.
It was the first time I'd shook on stage in like 10 years. I stopped shaking when I went on stage when I was like 11. Which is something that it's like a certain point. I'm gonna start being a stage presence teacher soon. I'm gonna start building my own.
Oh, that's cool.
Company.
Oh, yeah.
And me and my vocal coach have been like trying to like put words around some of the defining characteristics of moments like that, where like you stop shaking, you don't get as afraid, and So it was like the first time that I felt that in a long time. And I was like, oh fuck, maybe I didn't do wall pushes are.
Yeah.
Where you like get the endorphins released before you act or whatever. I didn't do enough wall pushes before I walked in here. But then he's like trying to run my interview. He's asking me who I am, and I was telling him about my mom and like where I'm from, Texas. And this is hilarious. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my fucking entire life in the entertainment industry. It goes. So I'm sitting here. It goes Lionel, Luke, Katie, right? Luke Bryan is in the middle, and he fucking sneezes. The loudest dad sneeze I've ever heard in my damn life, dude. And he's just like, achoo! And it's just visually, like I'm standing there in the middle of a sentence, and I see him like getting ready to, and I'm I just paused, and then it happened, and Lionel's like, like what? Why are you pausing? And he just giant amount of goop just like
Oh
coming out of
god.
his nose onto the table. And I noticed it. Lionel didn't, because he's focused on me. A lot of production didn't, or whatever. But the moment that happened, Katy Perry did everything but smite him, bro. She went
Oh, gross.
like, oh my God, get me away from it, get me away from it, get me away, take it away, take it away. You know, like, and we continue the interview. And
Off to a
Lionel-
great start.
right, Lionel starts talking to me and asking me another question. Halfway through his question, Katie is completely forgotten that I'm there.
Yeah.
Like, she's being her complete self. She goes, Luke, are you gonna fucking clean that up?
Yeah.
Excuse my French, but are you gonna freaking clean that up? And Luke is like solely shocked. He has no idea that he's just snotted all over the table. And then like I stood there awkwardly, making like smiley eye contact with Lionel Richie, while Katy Perry like made this disgusting like face towards Luke,
Oh, man.
like scolding him. And Luke was like, "Can somebody give me a napkin?" It was like scooping. It was like the funniest.
What a
weirdest
horrible
thing.
experience.
And then I go into Tennessee Whiskey. I nail it. Luke Bryan's watching me playing guitar. He's like, woo. And he goes, so I end and he goes, they're like, okay, cool. So you sound great. Katie and Lionel were like, it sounds like you've played this enough. You're bored.
They read right through it.
You're is warm. That's like the most exciting part of that song. And I'm not excited about it anymore. Oh, it's like an 9-piece run that I practiced for so long for this audition, but I expected to audition so long ago that I'd played it so many times live that I don't give a fuck anymore. So they're like, you sound bored. When you come back, please bring us something new. Like, be excited, be ready. And Lionel said I had one of the best like connections with my guitar that he's seen forever. He's like, that thing is an extension of your body. Like, it's pretty impressive. I don't see that
Pretty
often.
cool for him to say that.
Oh my God, it felt so
Yeah.
good. At the end of the day, I didn't go through as far as I was expecting to, and I've learned, and I've also like, from the beginning, the moment that happened, and they gave me my golden ticket, they were like, yes. I got my golden ticket. I got to shake their hands and stuff. I realized, okay, no matter where this goes from here, 3 of the best performers in the industry for the last 15 to 45 years just said, yes, I'm worthy. I didn't get, yes, you can go to the next
Yeah.
stage. I got, yes, you could be one of us one day from
That's
that.
great to get the approval from people like that, right?
And then from there,
Yeah.
it's an even longer story, to be honest, but I went from there to Hollywood Week. We paid for our flight there. Not for our hotel room, though. And we got in this hotel. There was like some Hilton or whatever right by the theater. First day, I get in on a flight at the same time as all these other people in this big group. They make us wait for like an hour until everyone in this group that's supposed to be in this group gets together. And I realized, because I was sitting next to this girl named Rayla that I was supposed to play guitar on a tour with like 4 years ago. And then she's like, fuck a band, I want to do tracks instead. She's going far. She's got a song that's on Disney as a opening song for a TV show right now.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
She's sitting next to me on this double-decker bus. So we waited for everyone. We're all tired. We hit our, what's it called? Guess what? We're going to go on a tour of LA and Hollywood in November weather on a double-decker bus where you're not allowed to sit downstairs. You can only sit outside. Guess what? Yeah.
Yeah.
They tried to break us down. And I was smart. I sat in the back. I said, fuck this seat. I curled down into like the underneath, and I stayed below the top of the thing. The guys were like mad. They almost tried to like bring like this like police force level kind of like authority to get me to sit up in my actual seat.
Yeah.
Like, you're not making the picture look good. There's like one spot in the back that doesn't look like there's somebody sitting there. And I was like, I didn't do that, but I was
Those
like,
production
no,
guys
I'm
are
so
gonna
cold,
get
guys.
mad.
Like, I think I don't want to get sick.
Yep.
Next day, I'm the only one who sings clean. Every single person on that bus got cut.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so it was like, I was like, I know what's up. And I kept telling people, I was like, they're doing this to fuck our voices over, dude. They're doing this. And they're like, no, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And they purposely told us before we got on that bus, they said, if you have a jacket, it's going to be warm. Go ahead and leave it with your suitcase. And I was like,
Yeah.
Kind
Right.
of warned me. So, day one comes through. We get to the hotel, obviously. We sign in or whatever. Start hanging out. I start hanging out with a bunch of the contestants. These were some of the coolest, most intensely talented, and like business-oriented people I've ever met in the industry. And a lot of them were so much more talent than business, and a lot of them were so much more business than talent. You know, it was such a weird mixture of people, but it was the best. It was some of the best of the best.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, I got to meet people who now I look at their Instagram and go, damn, dude, I wish I could hit that note. Like, whoa. Day one comes. They do all these auditions. They do everyone's audition in day one. You choose a cover or an original. You play 45 seconds of it. The whole entire group of people who is in your competition is watching in the Orpheum Theater in downtown Hollywood. And I go on stage. Not a single person has moved from where they were given the microphone. They put that mic stand in one place. That person walks away from that one place when they leave the stage. They do not move a single fucking inch the whole time.
Okay.
I get on stage. I did Folsom Prison. I'll show you guys exactly kind of like what. And not everyone had. So I had my vocal coach there. The guy that I was just with, we paid to have him come by to actually come to this because we were like, okay, you work with him for 2 years and like, you know, like come through. And I did this song. I did a. Oops. You like Johnny Cash?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So I did a little bit of this, and I was the only guy who moved, and I got a standing ovation. I was one of 3 people who got standing ovations out of 263 contestants, and it's because I moved, and I made like what's his face's jaw drop. I remember like so I go. This is a song by Johnny Cash, Mr. Men in Black. It's called Folsom Prison Blues. Right, and the moment I started doing that, that's not how fast the song is. I had to slow down. My vocal coach was in the back, up going, slow the fuck down.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I started out at a level with an energy that like nobody else had brought to the table. I think it worked in my favor. So I'm like, well, I hear a train a-coming, it's rolling round the bend. Ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when, 'cause I'm stuck in Folsom Prison. Time keeps dragging on, yeah. And that train, it keeps on rolling on down to San Antonio. And right about there, I look at like Katy Perry, go, how's that for something new? With like this anger that you could only have if you're like an adopted kid with problems who plays rock and roll guitar.
Yeah.
And it, like I literally saw her like, like oh shit, like he just threw a dagger at me. You're like what? Like he's mad at me.
Yeah.
You know. And so I keep going. It's like when I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't you ever play with guns. When I shot a man in Reno, yeah, just to watch him die. Spin move, right there. So, right?
Yeah.
And then back to the B. Oh, no, no. I hang my head and I cry. And I go, how about that, Luke Bryan? Is that new enough for you? And then I go like this, and just say this is the center stage, and this is the walkway.
Yeah.
And then like you're like where the judges are. There's 3 of them on that separate walkway, like on all the shows. I go, and I started snaking towards them.
Yeah.
And I walked around them, and I walked around the full judges stage. I got this close to each of them pretty much. And the end of the song, I went so. And then by the end of it, I kind of made it around to the right of the front of the judges. And then I went like this. I went, and I was like, you guys like the new? You want the old? And I was like so close to them, and their faces were just like, what the hell did we just walk into?
Yeah, sure.
Who is this performer? And I went, I literally to them in their face, like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
close. And I walked off stage before they could tell me thank you.
Like a real rock star.
They
Yeah.
fucking loved it. I got a standing ovation from the parents. I got such a standing ovation the next day, 2 days later, but it was the next round.
Yeah.
The next round over two days. When I got cut, people cried. So next round was duets, and I was like a high value piece. People had seen that I had like some performance ability, and when they told us to choose duet partners, people were trying to work with me. And I'm a weird guy. I like to do different things. I chose the one guy who was this. I love him to death, Bilal. He's from Pakistan, and we both had eyeliner on, and which is why I chose him. I was like, oh, I need to learn. What is that? He's like, it's actually a religious thing. It's not eyeliner. It's like a religious eye thing, and like people use it so that they can like avoid getting sunburnt on their eyelids and stuff when they're in the fields in Pakistan. And I wear that every day because it's also a religious thing. And I was like, dude, can I have some? We should be partners for the duet because we're kind of cool.
Yeah.
And he had this amazing story, and this is kind of where I think I screwed myself over a little bit, was that I chose somebody who had almost like this better story than me and an amazing voice. He didn't do very well on our audition. But his story and the diversity piece, when I got cut and he didn't, we did I'd catch a grenade for you.
Okay, yeah.
And I was going to do like the I'd catch a grenade for you, like this fucking super guttural like thing, and he was gonna do this clean thing. We were gonna play off of each other and have this little like a choreographed thing, and we practiced our asses off, like, and we killed it. He did the guttural, I did the clean, just by just nature of like anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Because of he showed something new, and I showed something that he'd already seen. I don't know what it was. It was the end of the day. This little Asian like producer runs up to them and like whispers into like Luke Bryan's ear, and then Luke Bryan goes, "Well, Griffin, it's time for us to start making cuts today." And like the whole room,
Yeah. Got sucked out.
because people were like, "What?" Because he did guttural, but he can't do the grind like I can. He did not sound good. He's an amazing. He's probably a little bit
Yeah,
more
so everybody's like,
skilled
what the
than I
hell?
am, frankly, as a vocalist.
Sure.
And it was just like the opposite of what people expected.
Mm-hmm.
And then they cut me, and I walked through, and then they were like trying to, at the end, they were trying to be like, "Do you want to cry right now? Tell us why you want to cry." And I'm like, "Why are you baiting my questions?" Like,
Yeah.
you know. And,
Well, they have. Yeah, it's all
and so
Hollywood,
they
right?
didn't air much of me at all.
Yeah.
Because they knew that I had a career going on. They'd already interviewed my mom, who had talked about how we'd put time and money into this. I chose, I think, the wrong person to duet with. Next time I'm going to do like Johnny Cash, Jackson, or something like that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Overall, what it did was it solidified some of my beliefs about the industry and understanding what that means and what it means to be an artist and what it means to do something like a TV show.
Yeah, you got a crash course in it.
I did.
Basically,
and I crashed
right?
hard enough that I'm like never going to crash again, I hope.
Hell yeah.
I think maybe in the next 2 years when I build, the voice is a muscle, so like you can run a good 40 meter and then a 40-yard dash and then, lose some of your strength and then get it back. So I'm in one of the processes of building it back because I've had vocal notes twice. Do you know what those are?
No.
They're calluses on your vocal cords.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
They're career enders, usually. I've had them twice already. I had the first time when I was 14, 15. The second time when I was 19. I went into American Idol on the cusp of vocal notes. Like, I got home from American Idol and went to a doctor, and he was like, he's Steven Tyler's doctor or whatever. And he was like, "You are lucky that you don't have to get surgery." And I was like,
Oh, no way.
"Oh, wow. Is that why I got cut? Like, did my voice sound that bad?" No, it didn't, but I was surviving on it. And I don't know. I've gotten lucky to have spent so much time with some of the people that I've gotten to work with, man. And, like, be on American Idol, like, fuck.
That's awesome.
I mean, I was in the same room as Katy Perry. She
Exactly.
called me cute, actually.
Really?
I've, like, kind of realized I can, like, die happy now because she called me cute. It's like one of my things that, like, every time I had this amazing interaction on my way over here, actually. This girl cut me off. I was driving, and I was blasting my music and had my windows down, full ride, full send, And she, like, pulled up next to me because, like, I started, like, hopping in front of her, and then she would hop in front of me, and we were driving down Midway for a while, and she was really cute. And she pulled up next to me, and I was like, and I drove away. But like that kind of shit never happens. And when I was on American Idol, when Katy Perry said that to me, like it filled every desire as a young man that I've ever had for a girl to give me some affection. And now whenever like I get rejected or like some girl like doesn't show up to a date or like any bullshit that you could imagine being a guy in today's dating age and today's like just the dating market is fucking it's a mess. I just remember
Katy Perry.
fireworks out of her titties lady told me that was pretty. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. She's so cool. Like we're good. And that's like, I think that's the real thing that I love to take away from American Idol. And for anybody who's listening, who's been on American Idol or is considering going on a show, if you get a yes at any of those turns, that's a yes that you should carry with you for the rest of your life.
Oh, for sure. That's
the no that you get is the kind of no that you just need to like digest it and just shit it right out into the toilet because it's not going to do anything for you. And it did a lot for me to be on American Idol, even though it could be perceived. And for a while, we thought it was like getting in the way. I had this weird reaction to being rejected, and I started acting out when I got home. But then when I kind of got my shit together again, that power and like that place where they were like, yeah, some of my idols, people who I've seen the things that they've done. I've been singing Sunday morning since I was a kid. Said yes to me. Mm-hmm. That's my American Idol.
That's
experience.
great, man. That's all you can ask for. Yeah.
That's all I care about.
So this has been one of our longer episodes.
Sorry.
No. I just wanted to ask you if you would like to play us out with us
totally.
any song of your choice.
Any song?
Yeah.
I can do a short little like thing that I'm working on right now.
That'd be great, man.
Let me.
Thanks for sharing with us. So I really appreciate all
No
this.
problem.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me ramble for so
You're
long.
an open book, man.
It's the downfall of my relationships usually. So I'm glad somebody enjoys it.
It makes for a good podcast, though.
It does.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm thinking now, being here, maybe I should start engaging in some podcasts.
You should, man. Yeah. No.
It's
people that can just ramble and talk. That's what makes a podcast.
and
dude.
that's what I listen to, man.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever watch Flagrant and stuff?
Of course.
Okay, totally. That's
Yeah.
like right in my wheelhouse and stuff.
Hell yeah.
Here's a song by a guy that I just met with his producer, one of his producers, in Nashville while I was there. That producer, Sean Bryn, just won the American Songwriter Magazine's Songwriter of the Year award for this album.
Badass.
And I met him through Bonnie Baker and some of the people, John Tyler and some of the people in Nashville. And I started listening to the song the album that he recorded with this guy that he won an award for. And this is a song that is on it that I'm fucking obsessed with these days. It's called, I'm just going to do the chorus. I'll play us out. But it's called Dark in His Soul by Brian Sutherland. It goes like this. Rain on the windshield, headed somewhere new. Gotta keep moving, it's all that I can do. Time on the clock and breaking down the wood. Wondering where we're gonna go, wondering if we should. I found you when I hit rock bottom in an old bean bottle, and I found myself a wheel on which way to go. Ain't it true? You can lead a man to water, but you can't take him farther unless he's ready to face the dark in his soul. Unless he's ready to face the dark in his soul.
Man, I love that. That was awesome.
Thank you so much.
That was really killer, dude.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. Thanks for coming down.
Too long, but
No, that was
It
great, man. That
really
was
fun. I might have to hit you up and ask to be back on this.
absolutely. I'd love to have you come down again, man.
And I'll bring my own.
Hey, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely,
Get
dude.
it. Do you ever do stuff like at events? Would you ever do like podcast type things before
I'd love
a
to.
big like release party
I'd
show
love
for a
to do
song,
that.
whatever like that?
Yeah,
Like bring your little setup somewhere.
Absolutely.
Okay.
absolutely.
Have to-
Yeah, if you ever want to have me come down, absolutely, dude.
Dude,
I'd love
there's
to do that.
Some events coming up for me and some other artists that I'm very close to that could use some of the promotion and some of like they could use a space like this with
Yeah.
someone like you to speak their mind in the moments where they're doing bigger things.
I think so too. Yeah.
Very fitting for it.
Let's talk about it afterwards, man. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in.
you, guys.
Yeah, y'all have a good night. What's up with that? Y'all be you, we're gonna be us. Later.
What's up with that? Woo! Hell yeah.
That was a great episode, dude.
Hey, thank you.
If you'd like to see raw, unedited, live episodes, follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/whatsupwiththat. To watch full episodes of What's Up With That, subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/whatsupwiththat.